So BLEACH Rebirth of Souls just released their first patch update that was actually doing some changes to characters, because they did have an earlier patch, but that was mainly for some bugs on PC. But with version 1.04, we get some battle changes, also some buffs and some nerfs to some characters, and they also made some adjustments to the recovery frames, not allowing people to actually follow up and put you into infinite. And we'll be trying to have some visuals of all these changes so you can see it for my visual learners and stuff like that, man. But hope y'all enjoy the video, and let's go ahead and get into these patch notes.
Suzuki, you want to see what true resolve is? I'll show you.
So when we look at some of the battle changes, man, the first thing is just going to be things with the main game, and it's basically they made an adjustment to the fighting spirit gauge. Whenever a Konpaku is destroyed, you're not going to get as much meter. This is going to allow you to get into your spirit drive and also your sublimation slower, and you're also not going to get your awakening as fast. They also fixed an issue with the damage stun for the chain reversal, where it varied depending on the awakening stage. They made it a little bit more balanced with all the characters around. Also, in the online matches, they adjusted the unintended guard unavailable frames during the wake up. This is basically how they were getting loops and how people were looping you. They were hitting you on your guard wake up or hitting you on wake up. Now you're going to have a little bit of invulnerability, which is going to allow you to be able to get that guard in so you're not getting looped by Byakuya or Bankai Ichigo. This is going to fix that. They also made some adjustments to the basic free match, where now the match time is 300 seconds. They also changed the default matchmaking settings, where now region and connection speed are set to no restrictions, and the soul crystal and soul talisman are now disabled at default. If you want to change these settings, you can still do that, but these are just the default settings now. With the battle, they also changed it where your Reitsu technique's name is not going to pop up except in NPC battles, and they also changed the system where the timer would stop whenever you're using reverse actions, so now you shouldn't have to worry about those things happening. As far as when we get to the character adjustments, one of the biggest adjustments is probably what people wanted. They made an adjustment to Renji and Kamamura. When they're in their Bankai, they no longer heal, so whatever health you have whenever you go into the Bankai, that is what you're going to start off with. And if they deplete your Reishi in this state and in the match is ended. Once your Reishi is depleted, if you're down to your last bars, the match is going to end. And I do think this was a needed nerf, but I think they nerfed it a little bit too much, in the sense that maybe it should have been a lower percentage of health. But the fact that they took away the heals all in general, I do think that this makes these Bankais much weaker. And I think it makes it a little bit unfair considering every other character gets heals from their awakenings. This makes it now where Renji and Kamamura really have to manage their health more, and they have no way of healing besides maybe using their white reverse. But y'all can let me know how y'all feel about this nerf. With Bankai Ichigo, they fished his dashing forward move, making it where you can't move as far, so it's not going to be as easy to try to loot people. And they also fixed what is the spiritual pressure moves, which is the Getsuga Aura, whenever he's actually able to use his Getsuga Tensho, making it where it can't really just pair as well, but you can still get yourself a loop in there. If you go with a light into a Getsuga, you can still extend things. But one of the biggest changes with this character is with his reawakening. They reduced the amount of Reitsu that you actually have when you're in the Vasto Lorde form. You can really take this more so like a defense nerf, where you're going to take more damage whenever you're in this state, which is going to allow the enemy to kill you faster, but all around it's still a powerful form. With Ichigo, the final Getsuga Tensho, basically what they did, they made it where your opponent is going to get their fighting spirit gauge a lot faster, and you're not going to get yours nearly as fast. So this is going to give them more time to actually be able to catch up and come back into the battle. And they also increased the amount of fighting spirit that your opponent gets whenever you destroy their Konpaku while you're using Dangai Ichigo. So they basically just made some changes to make it where you have a little bit more time to fight against this character. And they also changed his signature action, where whenever he grabs you, he's not going to be able to follow into some of his moves as well. With Uryu, they said they made some adjustments to his follow-ups, mainly with his flash step whenever he's like hitting you with a normal combo and he's following up, and also an adjustment to his counter move, where sometimes it wouldn't detect the hit and he wouldn't be able to get it off. But I didn't really see too many differences with his combos. It still felt the same, so I do think this character still needs some work, but it's still fine. One thing you can do is you can hit him with the spiritual pressure move 1 after the flash follow-up now, but I don't know if that was something that was already there before. I didn't use Uryu that much, but y'all can let me know in the comments. As far as with Yoruichi, all they did is just adjust her breaker. They just adjusted the behavior wherever the character goes after the breaker hits, just making it where you can follow up and maybe prevent some bugs and stuff like that from happening. With Rukia, the main change is whenever she hits you with her signature action, she can now flash step, but her signature action only shoots out 2 of the Kido now, it's not 3, and it also doesn't do nearly as much guard damage. Now if you hold down the Kido and you hold the signature action, you get some good guard damage, but that's the main change. They also increased her damage in her awakening, but the main main change is with her signature action. With Kira, they made some adjustments to his signature action as well, but they didn't do enough. Whenever you're holding down the button and you pull them in, you don't really have plus frames to have an opportunity to guard. Your opponent can hit you before, but you can dash back. I do think this is one change that needs to be made. What they changed with him is they made it where you can actually follow up with a flash step after you shock the opponent if you just tap the signature action, but I do think this character still needs some changes. With Ikaku, they made it where his follow-ups actually go a little bit better whenever he's going into other people, because certain characters, I guess his follow-up was dropping, and they also increased the damage of his spiritual pressure move counter whenever he actually has the spiritual pressure move 2 activated, which boosts his damage. And they also fixed the unintended canceling. I guess he was able to cancel out of his spiritual pressure move 1 and loop you, so these are just a lot of things that just end loops in the game. With Yamamoto, they made an adjustment to his signature action whenever he's in the Inferno state. I'm guessing there was an issue where he wouldn't be able to follow up with the double attack whenever he was in the Inferno state, and sometimes it wouldn't activate, but now he's actually going to send out both of the flames. And they also adjusted a little bit of the stun whenever he's doing his special flash, whenever he's charging at you, maybe making it where it's a little bit easier for you to punish him after if he whiffs it. With Aizen, one of the biggest changes is they made it a lot faster for him to go to each phase of his fusion, so you're not going to be waiting as long. And they also fixed his reawakening move. They said they made some adjustments to make it easier for you to land it. I do still think that this move drops a lot even at the end of your combos, and you have to time it very well, so maybe his spiritual pressure move 1 when he's reawakened can still take a little bit more health. And they also fixed an issue where his unique technique wouldn't allow him to go into other moves going through different levels of the Hokiko fusion. With Byakuya, they nerfed the loops finally. Now you can no longer use your signature action, which is the move that hits you from anywhere on the map, if you start your combo with your flash or your quick attack. So this is not going to work anymore. You're not going to be able to just use your signature action directly after a flash step and hit people when they have frames. They actually make you wait, so you're going to have to pair things a little bit better. You can still use your signature action if you start with the signature action and then go into the quick, but you're no longer going to be able to use your quick and then go into the signature action, if that makes any sense. They also fixed some issues where his flash step sometimes wouldn't transition. I didn't really run into this issue, but these are just some basic bug fixes. With Mayuri, they nerfed one of his infinites where he was able to just keep spamming the heavy and keep getting guard pressure on you. Now there's actually a little bit of a window where you can hit him, or if you can maybe grab him and do something, so it's not as much where he can just keep hitting you. They also fixed some issues where I'm guessing his move with Nemu wouldn't hit people whenever they had low Reitsu, and they also just adjusted the combo scaling whenever he follows up with his flash steps. Kaien Shiba also got a nerf to his infinite. He's no longer going to be able to just use his flash attack over and over again and loop you, and they also adjusted the charge time of his special flash whenever he's in the water enhanced state, so these are some good changes. With Shinji, they just did some basic changes to his counter where it's going to allow it, to follow up better and maybe not glitch out as much, and they also adjusted the position of his breaker deflect. Whenever he does it, it's now going to put you both in a better mutual position, which allows the fight to restart a little bit better. And they also made it where some of his combos aren't going to drop maybe whenever he's going into his lights and his flash attacks. With Coyote Start, his patch notes were a little bit difficult to understand, but basically it seems like they fixed an infinite where he was able to do some stuff with his quick step. They made it where you can also follow up if you're doing your charge special flash, where you can use like a flash step and get some good combos going. They did adjustments similar to Shinji with him where they adjusted the breaker deflect, and they fixed some of the damage drop off, because I guess sometimes his damage potential wasn't really consistent even whenever he was using his spiritual pressure move 2. And they also fixed it where sometimes he wouldn't consume his blue wolf stock even though he had it under availability, so now you should be able to for sure take off those Kumpaku. Tierra Hollowbell, I guess they had to fix some issues where sometimes her aura gauge wouldn't go up when she was landing attacks that should make it go up, so you shouldn't run into this issue. And they also increased the amount of invincibility in her Reitsu technique number 2, which is the one where she slashes you up. You can pretty much hit some pretty good moves now. You're even able to counter like Urahara slash and even Ukiura Sero, so this is going to be a pretty good move. I think this character is already pretty strong and very fast, and now they just gave her some more invulnerability, so you might see a lot more Harabells around. And they also increased the guard stun whenever she does her quick step, so yeah, this character is going to have some crazy pressure. With Nelliel, the last character that got some changes, they just fixed her soul destruction technique where sometimes it would drop. Now you're not going to have to worry about that dropping, just like with Mayuri where his would drop. And they also fixed some issues where she wasn't able to follow up with her flash step. They said they made some adjustments to the spiritual pressure move 2 where it wasn't branching properly. I still feel like this move just activates very slow and it's not easy to hit it. I would still probably recommend that you use a delayed flash step if you want to try to get this combo off. I think it still needs some work, but all around some good things with Nelliel. And they also said they made some other adjustments to just some behavior and just some animations, and some people during the stream felt like they said the game looked like it was a little bit smoother and it was running smoother. But those were basically all the patch notes and all the things they changed. Let me know in the comments, how do you feel about these patch notes? Like I said, I think the Renji and Kamamura nerf were a little bit too strong, especially considering the fact that they buffed the Aizen, but you can let me know in the comments how you feel about this, man. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn the bell, do all those nice things, and give me some feedback on this video so we can try to improve these patch update videos for y'all in the future, man. But hope y'all enjoyed this, and I will see y'all in the next one. We up.